guys, γεια σας και καλώς ήρθατε to another episode of Dimitra's Dishes. Today we're making a delicious dessert known as Politiko Thessalonikis. It's a cake that's it has a semolina base layer, very similar, almost the same thing actually to samali cake if you tried it before. It's flavored with mastic gum and it's just so syrupy and delicious. And then it's topped with some pastry cream and lots of cinnamon. Similar to an ekmek, only a little tiny bit different because of the base. You guys are gonna love it. It's perfect for the holiday season that's right around the corner. Let's get started making it. So we're gonna begin by greasing our baking dish. I have a 9 by 13 inch baking dish and I'm just gonna grease it with some olive oil. This is light olive oil, but you could use vegetable oil or even butter. That's it. Now we're gonna combine the wet ingredients for the cake. So over here I have some Greek yogurt. To that, I'm gonna add some vanilla extract. A teaspoon of vanilla, 3/4 of a cup of light olive oil, or you can use vegetable oil like we said, granulated sugar, some water, and we're just going to mix this all together just so it can get combined. Very simple. Now I took out another whisk because I should have mixed the dry ingredients first, so do as I say, not as I do, and mix your dry ingredients first. I have some coarsely ground semolina flour, some baking powder. To that, I'm going to flavor it with some mastica. This is mastic gum that's finely ground. Very flavorful. All you need is a 1/4 teaspoon. That's it. I'm also going to put a little pinch of salt in here and the zest of a lemon. Now you could also throw in some mahlepi in here, which is also known as mahlab. That's going to give it the flavors of tureki. It goes really well. But in my traditional samali, I don't add the mahlepi, so I'm just keeping it simple with the lemon zest and the mastic gum. Mastic gum is very piney tasting. Usually it's sold in Mediterranean specialty food stores. You can find it in Middle Eastern specialty food stores as well. If not, I'll put it on Amazon so you can get some. Give everything a nice mix. If you have big chunks of mastica in there, it likes to stick together, just break it up with your fingers, mix it up. Now we're gonna add the dry ingredients to the wet. You could add them in all at once. Mix everything all together. This is such an easy cake, no special equipment needed. And it does not get simpler than that. The batter is done. I'm now gonna just pour it into the prepared baking pan. So now the thing about coarsely ground semolina is that it does need to soak up, it does need to sit at room temperature for an hour. I would do an hour or two if you have it. An hour will do the trick. It needs that time so that way it can soften up. Now set it aside. Like I said, you can cover it with a towel or some plastic wrap and just forget about it. You can preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. While this is all happening, we're going to make the syrup because this is a syrupy cake. So the syrup is very simple. So for the syrup, we need sugar. All of the measurements are going to be in the description box down below as well as on the website, so don't worry about it. And then to that, we're going to add some water. We use the juice of the lemon, the zest of the lemon. Now we're going to use the juice in here. Of course, you can use orange or clementines or whatever your favorite citrus is instead of lemon. I'll get the seeds out afterwards. We're going to give this a nice mix, let it come to a boil. Once it boils and all of the sugar is dissolved, I'm going to take it off of the heat and then I'm going to stir in some rose water. And now rose water is going to give it a very nice floral flavor. If you don't like rose water or you don't have it, you can definitely use orange blossom water or even some vanilla extract. And then once that's done, we're going to set it aside because we want the syrup to cool completely. So now the syrup is done, the cake is almost ready for the oven. The only thing that's left is the pastry cream layer that's going to go on the top. And we've made it so many times on this channel. It's delicious and very simple to make. We're going to start with 4 cups of milk. This is whole milk. And I'm going to put part of the sugar in here that keeps the milk from burning. And the rest is going to go in the eggs, or some of it. I'll do half and half actually. Now to the eggs and the sugar, I'm going to add cornstarch. And what we're doing is we're warming up the milk until it gets scalding hot so that way we can temper the egg mixture. In the meantime, we're just going to whisk the egg mixture up all together. It's going to look thick and crumbly, but it's going to come together very quickly. And to the eggs, I'm going to add half a cup of heavy whipping cream and just whip that all together. As soon as the milk becomes scalding hot, I'm going to add some of the milk to the egg mixture to raise their temperature so that way when they go in, they stay nice and creamy and they don't get scrambled. Then I'm going to add this egg mixture back into the pan. We're gonna whisk everything all together and cook it over medium-low heat until it thickens. As soon as the mixture begins to boil, it's gonna thicken fairly quickly. You wanna make sure you do not step away from this, not even for a second while you're making this cream, because once it burns, it's finished. Take it off of the heat once it's nice and thick, and just add in some butter. And 3 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract. And mix everything all together. And then just transfer the mixture to a bowl for it to cool completely. You can put this in the refrigerator. You could actually make this a day ahead of time. The thing about it is once it cools, it's going to thicken even more. So before you put it onto the cake, before you spread it onto the cake, you're just going to want to whisk it up a little bit to break it up. If it's a little too thick, you can definitely pour some heavy whipping cream in it to lighten it up just a little bit. Now I'm going to cover it with some plastic wrap to keep a skin from forming. The cake is ready for the oven. The oven is preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. This is going to go in there and bake for about 30 minutes or until a toothpick that's inserted into the center comes out clean. So the cake took 40 minutes to bake in the oven. I thought it would take 30, but it actually took 40. And now, as soon as it came out of the oven, I went ahead and I poured the syrup on top. It's going to look like there's a lot of syrup, but it's going to be absorbed in the cake. Make sure you poke a lot of holes around with a toothpick so that way the syrup can go in a little bit sooner. It takes about 30-40 minutes and the syrup should be in. It is a good idea to let it cool a little bit before you go ahead and put the pastry cream. So the pastry cream is nice and cool. I'm just going to go ahead and mix it with this whisk just to smooth it out a little bit more. And now I'm going to transfer all of the pastry cream on top of the cake and I'm going to spread it. And the characteristic look of the cake is lots and lots of cinnamon on top. So do not be cheap with the cinnamon. Go ahead and sprinkle it on. A heavy layer is what's needed. I'm going to refrigerate this for an hour so it can set, and then we're going to slice into it. Okay, so this is a cake that if you're making it for a get-together, it's something that you want to do a day ahead of time just because you want it to be nice and cool and chilled because that's how it tastes best. Cut it into however big or small slices you want to serve it in. I cut a ginormous slice just because we're going to share it and I need to take pictures of it. I cannot wait any longer. I'm going to take a bite. So soft. Oh my goodness. Get it away from me. This is incredibly delicious. The cake is moist and soft. The mastica in there just adds such nice freshness. Mastica tastes a little bit like pine. It's like a floral pine, I can't explain it. If you don't like it or you can't find it, you can substitute cardamom seeds for it or vanilla extract. It's so delicious. The pudding on top, the custard is so creamy and decadent, and the spice from the little kick of spice from the cinnamon takes this over the top. The recipe, as always, is in the description box down below with all the exact measurements, as well as the printable version on the website, dimitrasdishes.com. You guys have to give this a try. Make some Greek coffee. Learn how to make Greek coffee by clicking over here, and I'll see you right over there. Yes, Zest.